Hi, friends. I'm Chuck, and this is my good friend Grant from Washington, D.C., but I think he's down south right now. So, Grant, where are you at?
Yeah, at my folks' place in North Carolina, just
All
north of
right,
Raleigh.
North Carolina. And we're going to continue our series on the identity and purpose equation. And Grant, today we're going to be reading First Peter 2:9, and if you would read that for us.
Sure. First Peter 2:9. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for God's own possession, so that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
I love this verse for a lot of reasons, but where do you see identity and purpose here in this passage?
Yeah, it's really, identity is really all over it. The just with the first portion, you are a chosen people. So how that plays into identity is God chose us
Mm.
from the beginning of time. So that makes me feel really valued and wanted and special.
Yeah. And then he talks about being a royal priesthood, and generally speaking, we reserve the priesthood for the high muckety mucks, the guys who went to seminary, and, specially trained guys, gurus like me. I've done all that, but you know what? It's for everyone, which
Right.
is amazing. How about the holy nation? What does that speak to you about identity?
Yeah. When I think about holy nation, I think of God's we are God's citizens. So we are citizens of a different kingdom. So I am, in one sense, we're both US citizens, but in the most important sense, we're citizens of God's kingdom, which is this holy nation that he's set apart for us.
Nice, I like it. And usually we think of the word holy as righteous or pure, but it also means separate. So we've been
Mm,
separated. We're a chosen people, a chosen race, and a separate nation. And
mhm.
I like to tell people I have a king. When they ask me who I'm going to vote for, I tell them I have a king. And
Yeah.
he's been in, power for all eternity.
Mm,
So
amen.
how about people for God's own possession?
Yeah, I think you just worded it, that we have a king, and that's God, and we are owned by him. We are his possession. It
Mm,
kind of plays into the chosen piece as well. He chose us to be his own possession, and
yeah.
so that yeah, plays into our identity a lot. That we're not anyone else's. We are God's.
Mm. And it reminds me that, when sin came into the world, we were separated, but then we were redeemed, purchased back. And how were we purchased back to be God's possession? By the blood of Christ. So,
Jesus. Yeah.
at great expense, you know, wonderful, but awesome when we think of the expense that God paid for us to be His possession. So, all of that speaks to identity, but these and and we can derive purpose as well from these four things of identity. But what do we see as far as our purpose here?
I see, I mean, two pieces stand out to me. Um, I'll mention the first one that I see, a royal priesthood. Um, and that can open up a whole nother conversation that plays into purpose as far as like the priesthood of the believer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, the when I think of the priests in the Old Testament, they were the only ones that went to be with God and communicate the message of God to the rest of their people. But now, you know, Peter's saying, hey, that's who we are. That's now our identity, so that we now can be with God because Jesus' spirit lives in us, and then communicate the message of God to everyone. So that's really our purpose on earth, is to be with Jesus and share the gospel with people, share what he did. So that's what I think of. How about you?
I like it. I like it. Yeah, when I think of a priest, I think of a priest brings people to God and God to the people.
Mm-hmm.
An intermediary, so to speak. Now, we know that Jesus is our great intermediary, but uh, in a sense, we are bringing people to God and God to people.
Mm.
But in doing that, I love this, so that we may proclaim the excellencies of Him who called us out of darkness into His marvelous light. And if we just spend a little bit of time thinking about who we were in the darkness and who we are now in the marvelous light, who can shut us up? You know, we
Yeah.
gotta share this message with other people because it means so much to us. You know,
Amen.
so we're compelled to share the gospel. Any last thoughts?
I don't think so. God, I mean, I think this one's, yeah, super impactful and clear. God chose us, and then gives us a list of other identities, so that what you just mentioned, so that we could proclaim his goodness, the excellencies. Um, yeah, speaks to me a lot for sure.
Yeah, all right. All right, we love you. God bless you. And until next time, keep following Jesus.